All right. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful chapters in the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf, which means the cave. And let me tell you, this is so much more than just a collection of old stories. It's really a roadmap for navigating some of the biggest trials life can throw at us. We're going to break down 4 of its amazing core stories to see what they can teach us about our own lives right here, right now.
So the whole chapter is built around these 4 incredible narratives, and each one tackles a fundamental human test: a trial of your faith, a trial of your wealth, a trial of your knowledge, and a trial of your power. So the big question we're asking is this: what can these timeless stories really teach us about facing our own challenges today?
So our first story kicks off with a trial of faith. It's all about a group of young believers who have become known as the people of the cave. Okay, so picture their dilemma. You've got these young men who have this pure, simple belief in one God. But, and this is a big but, they live in a society that's telling them they have to worship idols. They're at a crossroads. Do you compromise what you believe just to fit in, or do you run to protect your faith? You know, that's a pressure we can all recognize, staying true to your convictions when it feels like the whole world is pushing against you.
So they made their choice. They chose their faith. They left everything behind and found refuge in a remote cave. And this is where the story takes a miraculous turn. As an act of incredible mercy, God puts them into a deep, deep sleep, and when they finally wake up, the world they ran from is completely gone. It's been replaced by a new society, one that actually shares their beliefs.
So how long were they asleep? Get this, an absolutely astonishing 309 years. Now that number isn't just a random detail. It's a powerful sign of God's ability to protect those who put their trust in Him, literally outside of time itself. So, the big takeaway here, it's all about steadfastness. It's a huge lesson on holding on tight to your principles and your faith, especially when you're facing what feels like impossible pressure.
Okay, so from a test of faith, the surah completely shifts gears and moves to a very different kind of trial, the trial of wealth and prosperity. So here we meet a guy who was given everything you could possibly imagine. 2 gorgeous, thriving gardens, basically a symbol of massive wealth. But instead of being grateful, this blessing actually became his downfall. He got arrogant. He started to believe all his success was because of him, and he totally forgot the real source of his blessings.
And the consequence? Well, it's immediate, and it is devastating. His arrogance, his disbelief, it leads directly to his complete ruin. One night, a disaster strikes, and his beautiful gardens are turned into nothing but rubble. He loses absolutely everything. It's a super stark cause and effect story.
And this brings us to such an important lesson about gratitude. The story is basically telling us that our blessings are a test. Are we going to be thankful, or are we going to let them make us arrogant? It suggests that real wealth is in recognizing where those blessings come from and being thankful for them.
Our third story is a journey, and this time it's a trial of knowledge. We follow the prophet Moses as he goes to find a mysterious and incredibly wise servant of God, a figure known as Al-Khidr.
You know, the entire point of this journey is to teach a really profound lesson, that what we see with our own eyes, with our limited human understanding, is almost never the whole picture. Divine wisdom is often working behind the scenes in ways that can seem bizarre or maybe even wrong from our perspective.
So on their journey, Moses watches as Al-Khidr does 3 things that seem to make absolutely no sense. First, he damages a boat that belongs to some poor fishermen. Then, he takes the life of a young person. And finally, he repairs a crumbling wall in a town where the people were completely rude to them. Each action seems totally unjust, and it pushes Moses' patience to the absolute limit. But, as we find out later, there was a hidden mercy behind every single one. Ultimately, this story is all about humility and patience. It's a lesson in trusting that there's a divine plan, even when we can't see it or understand it. Sometimes you just have to be patient and wait for wisdom to reveal itself. All right, our final story brings us to the trial of power, and it's embodied by this amazing, righteous ruler named Dhul-Qarnayn.
So Dhul-Qarnayn was given immense power and authority. He travels all over the world, and on his journey, he finds a community that is being terrorized by these destructive forces known as Gog and Magog. But the key, the thing that makes him so special, is how he uses that power. He doesn't show up to conquer or exploit them. Nope.
Instead, when this vulnerable community begs for his help, he uses all of his knowledge, his resources, and his authority to build a massive, impenetrable wall to protect them. He acts like a true servant leader.
This leaves us with such a clear moral about power. It's a responsibility. The lesson here is all about just leadership, using whatever authority or influence you have, not for yourself, but to create justice, to protect those who are vulnerable, and to serve others.
So there we have it. We've walked through 4 epic stories, and each one gets right to the heart of a fundamental human trial. Let's pull it all together and see the beautiful pattern that emerges.
Looking back, the connection is crystal clear. The trial of faith teaches us to be steadfast. The trial of wealth teaches us gratitude. The trial of knowledge teaches us patience. And the trial of power teaches us justice. 4 trials, 4 timeless virtues to help guide us through life.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most crucial question of all. These are not just ancient tales, right? They're mirrors. They reflect our own lives, our own challenges. Whether it's a test of our principles, our finances, our understanding of the world, or our influence over others, which one of these lessons really touches your life today?